Intro noises. It is me, Quack, back with what I promised. I hope I actually had this on video. I can't really remember. Memory are not it. And I'm here with a Sekiro subclass called Way of the Iron Reflex. This subclass is for monks, and I will link this in the description for people who want to look at it. All that I ask in return, since this is completely free, I'm not charging you guys for this. There'll be a PDF in the description, or I can link to the home brewery or Nature Crit, whichever one you would rather go to, the reputable website or the PDF in the description, doesn't matter to me. But all I ask is in return is you like and subscribe on the video, since I'm doing this for free, and it takes me actually quite a while. I think this subclass, since I already was planning to somewhat do something like this, took me 3 or 4 hours, I think, and that's not to mention recording and balancing and all of that. But monks of the way of the Iron Reflex dedicate themselves to the art of redirection, like a Sekiro parry. And it's not about brute force or speed, it's just being able to deflect those attacks and not take damage. So monks already kind of do this, but this is on a whole nother level. You're not going to be doing a ton of damage unless it's from like redirections with that besides your normal monk abilities. But at level 3 you get defensive stance, so immediately after you use Fury of Blows, which is something that costs a focus point and lets you attack a couple times with unarmed strikes, you may enter a defensive stance until the start of your next turn. While in this stance, when a creature hits you with a melee attack that deals bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing damage, you can reduce the damage by 1d10 plus your dexterity modifier plus 1/4 of your monk level rounded down. So basically what this does is there's a monk ability just like this at level 3, but this does a little bit more and has better scaling, and it just blocks damage after you use Fury of Blows, which is very helpful, I would say, because if you can like face tank pretty much as a monk, especially at early levels, and if the damage is reduced to 0, the attacker takes the force damage equal to the amount reduced up to a maximum of twice your monk level. So basically what's that saying is, if you negate all the damage, the attacker takes force damage equal to that damage or twice your monk level, whichever one is lower. Whichever one is lower, so you cannot deflect some crazy attack back at the opponent. But I really don't think at level 3 you're really gonna be needing to go above your twice your monk level, but it's still a little bit of damage if you take no damage. So then we have level 6, Unbalancing Deflection. So when a creature you can see hits you with an attack, you may spend 1 focus point, which is key points if you're playing 2014. I think they're called focus points, that's what I have them in here as. You can use your reaction to reduce the damage by 1d8 plus your dex modifier. Now, why would you not want to use the Fury of Blows block? Well, because if the damage is reduced to 0, the attacker must succeed on a dex save or fall prone, and falling prone is really helpful. And if the creature fails a saving throw by 5 or more, one creature of your choice within 5 feet of the attacker may use their reaction to make 1 melee attack against the opponent, dealing an extra 2d6 damage on a hit, increases by 1d6 at level 10, 15, and 20. So basically, this is kind of like if you played Sekiro, it's Death Blows, kind of like Death Blows. If it's Elden Ring, it's more like your riposts. I can put in a couple of these. But and then you have 11th level, which is spell blocking. It is exactly what it says. You just block spells. So it's a upgrade to Unbalancing Deflection, so you can deflect spells, and you can deflect attack rolls and saving throws. You have advantage on the saving throw when you try and deflect it. which is about what it is. Now, level 17, this is where things get interesting, because you can only take one of these different kinds of deflections or evasions. At level 17, you've learned your flow of battle, so you can choose the Makiri counter, which in Sekiro, it is where you step on an opponent's spear or sword when they're trying to stab you with a piercing attack. So whenever a creature tries to hit you with a melee attack that deals piercing damage, you can reduce that damage by 3d10 plus your dex modifier. And if this is reduced to 0, the creature must succeed on a strength saving throw or be disarmed, dropping one held weapon of your choice, or you may immediately make one unarmed strike against the creature as a part of the same reaction. Which this is basically saying if you're fighting an enemy with like a sword, you can disarm them if they fail, or if you're fighting like a tentacle that's hitting you in like a straight line, like a piercing that does piercing damage, you can step on it and smack it with your hand. So then you have projectile deflection, which when a creature you can see attempts to hit you with a ranged attack or spell, you can reduce damage by 3d8 plus your dex modifier. If the damage is reduced to 0, you may redirect the projectile back at them, making a ranged attack against the original attack power that does, using your monk attack bonus, and on a hit, the projectile does normal damage back to the boss or enemy or whoever you're fighting. Now the final one, which is another fun one, is called the jump counter. So whenever a target within 5 feet of you tries to make a melee attack, and it doesn't go straight up into the sky, you can engage in an acrobatics check contested by the attacker's attack roll. And if you succeed, you take no damage and you have to move 10 feet in any direction. But you take no damage, which is really nice. And on a failure, the attack hits normally. So there's really no reason why you shouldn't take something like jump counter. But there's also all kinds of different forms of counters, like Makiri counter would be super cool when you pull it off. Projectile deflection is a little boring, but it would definitely be really helpful when you use it. And then you have jump counter and Makiri, which are my two favorites, but projectile is something that a wolf can do in the actual game, so it had to be on here somewhere, and I think it would be best at a level 17 thing to deflect the projectile back at them. So that is the subclass Way of the Iron Reflex, and if you can see on here, it says the Sekiro Shadows Die Twice series. Why does it say that? Because I'm making more of this. So pretty soon I'm still working on some balancing things, but we're going to be getting an Ashina Shinobi, which is a rogue subclass that uses more of Sekiro's tools. And then we're also getting an actual Sekiro class, which kind of encompasses Way of the Iron Reflex and Ashina Shinobi into one class, if you want the straight Sekiro experience. But if you want to play like a standard class and your DMs don't like having full homebrewed classes, because sometimes they can be a little unbalanced, you have these subclasses which are pretty balanced. I don't think they're super overpowered, and if they are, DMs, just go ahead and update it. And if it's really a big issue, go ahead and let me know down in the comments, saying what you recommend changing, and I might even re-upload the PDF and put a post on my channel. So if you want to see any updates to this class, or when Ashina Shinobi and the actual wolf class comes out, I don't have a name for it yet because that's just started on it, go ahead and like, subscribe. You don't have to turn the bell on. Go ahead, and if you want, that'll make sure they're up as soon as they are ready. But this is the Sekiro class, or the deflect parry Sekiro class. So I hope you all enjoyed this subclass, and I hope you all make great use of it. It's going to be very fun for your DMs, I think. And it also means your party won't have to play a healer. If your group is anything like mine, trying to get somebody to play a healer is like telling them to play that one game they refuse to play. So this will probably help with that because you're always just reducing your damage by a lot. So hope you all enjoyed, and thank you all for watching. Link to this is in the description, and I will see you all next time.